Welcome to the Foundation. I appreciate y'all checking out the episode. Today's episode is private trust versus public trust. The history of Sot. So there's a caveat. The history of Sot. I know I talk about the distinctions between private trust and public trust, but I think that it's very important to discuss those distinctions. Number one, we weren't taught those distinctions. And number two, it's very beneficial for, us to understand that. That's my opinion. It's not legal. I can't give legal advice, nor opinions, relationship advice, nor opinions. But we all know that. But nonetheless, and I want to talk about, the history of, how I got here. I get the question a lot, so how did you get here? How did you get to the point where not only are you, administering private trust, but teaching people how to do it and, trying to bring more awareness to the actual validity, or more specifically, the existence of these structures? I got an answer for that. So we're going to get to that. Also, got a giveaway, did bring up the giveaway in the current events, did record that. Don't know if that's posted yet, but we're going to post that because we couldn't upload. We're having issues uploading on and off. It was consistent, but now it's on and off. We're figuring it out. But with that being said, I want to discuss the details with the giveaway. The giveaway is a brand new in the box, in the package, in the wrapping, the saran wrap. I almost said saran wrap, y'all. If you get some AirPads and it got saran wrap on it, you can get it from us. It actually has the actual shrink wrap on the package. It's never been open. Brand new AirPods, and you only got to do a couple of things. We're going to jump into that immediately. After word for these sponsors. Just playing. We don't do sponsors either. So with that being said, it's good to be back. Excuse me. Been gone for a while, getting things together on the private side, personally. Nothing's wrong. Everything's good. But, I apologize for the inconsistency. And to everyone who's reached out, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate that, you're thinking about me. Really, I mean, for real. I'm being serious. Sometimes, I may say things in jest, but I don't mean it. So with that being said, private trust versus public trust, the history of Sot. This is the Foundation. My name is Sot L, Speaker of Truth L, Seeker of Truth L, and it's my pleasure to be here with you again today. Well, today, again, or again, period. You know what I mean. And with that being said, let's jump into this episode. This is going to be real quick. I'm not going to, take up too much of your time. I try not to. But I think this is very important to get into. And I think, being able to hit it from different angles and maybe different perspectives. There's people who get it by me talking about it one way, and then other people who get it when I talk about it another way. So I'm just trying to speak about it as many times and in many ways as I can. But please, if you don't mind, if it pleases you, check out welcometothefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list. There's the BitOx. You can do it right there. Exclusive offers, events, notifications, things of that nature. We're working on getting the newsletter consistent, but it's difficult. I'm going to be honest. We're doing a lot. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the Foundation magazine. I don't think I was supposed to say that, but I did because, y'all family. And that's been a dope endeavor, but it's been challenging as well. So we're working on getting, a newsletter, and we don't want to do a newsletter or 2 or 3 or 4 and then fall off for a while like I've been doing with the show. I'm just going to keep it real. We want to be more consistent with that. And, there's more infrastructure that's involved with stuff like that. So, we want to do it right, do it straight, do it correct the first time, and not, have to make excuses because, we trying to be professionals over here. Actually, we are. We are. So check out the website, Welcome to the Foundation. I definitely want to touch on, the PDF or the documents section. You can hit all documents. And these particularly are not specifically associated with trust administration. I would say 99% of them are not. But these are documents that we saw being charged for on the internet. Some, guru or what have you was charging, for them on the internet. So, we like to step on toes, aka pancake toes, just out here pancaking. And, these are documents you can just download for free. These are all PDFs. whether you're interested or not, as well, after you sign up for the email list. So I highly encourage you to check out welcometothefoundation.com. We also offer the most comprehensive and most affordable training with regards to trust administration, period, in the world, on the entire planet. Period. And I'm saying that with confidence. I'm not joking. I really would like to find something that's better so we can make ours better. But as far as like trust administration, administering trust, protecting trusts, which is very important, and teaching successors how to succeed the trustees so that the trust estate essentially, truly becomes multi-generational. So we can, perpetuate and grow wealth multi-generationally. And I think if you ask me, that's one of the biggest things missing with regards to, how we think about wealth, the multi-generational aspect, the bloodline tie and responsibility with regards to these, this wealth. Me personally, I didn't get here on my own. I have parents, they had parents, and so on and so forth. You go back far enough, there's hundreds of thousands of people that had to, be born, survive, and reproduce for me to be here. Not only that, there's a higher power involved in all of this. And when it comes to those before me and those that will precede me, I think this is it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. But let's not get into that. Let's get into, the most comprehensive trustee training on the planet. You can check out the link in the description. I'm not playing. It's a learn at your own pace course. It's video based. You can watch them. You can listen to them. You can, while you're working, while you're driving. There's no tests. There's, no ridicule, no quizzes, nothing like that. But take your time. And, I can tell you for sure that in your own time, no race, but don't delay. In your own time, you will be a proficient private trust administrator, and you'll be able to stand up to government authorities, Internal Revenue Service agents, and the like, just on law. And that's the powerful thing to be able to do for your family. So link in the description. That's just me personally. If you ever wanted to start a business, you started a business before, but it was difficult. You went to file the taxes and they were like, the business can't file taxes. You didn't do this. And you were discouraged. I've seen a lot of different people go through a lot of different things with regards to starting their own business. And ultimately, I think it boils down to, believing in yourself, consistency, dedication. But I think the belief in yourself really contributes to being able to be consistent and dedicated. And, hopefully that this course, this comprehensive course, could add to that self-belief. We go through everything with regards to registering at the Secretary of State, getting EIN, properly classifying on the federal level, operating agreements, business plans. Look, whatever you're trying to do, if you're just trying to start a local little business and do your dance through your trunk of your car, or you want to go vertical and sell your business, whatever you're trying to do, I'm serious. You're going to find it or the path to it in this course. And it's a one-time shot. Do your dance. You'll always have access. That's on you. Last but not least, we have the Foundation magazine. I would say it's the most luxurious dances going down. I'm really impressed with this thing. Really impressed with this thing. So we have the digital subscription. We have a print edition, an actual magazine shipped to you physically. Smells like a magazine, feels like a magazine. Put it on your coffee table. We're doing the dance. I believe that it's very elegante. I'm serious. And I just not only love having them available. So many people pick them up. What are these? What are these? And then they look at them. They're very, very striking. And, most people, A, don't have magazines laying around anymore, but B, it's really been dope just to, be a part of it. So I'm very, you can tell I'm kind of proud and stuff. It's kind of like a little baby, but it's not a real baby. It's fake. It's a magazine, but it's dope. So link in the description if you want to subscribe. And I did speak on this. The current events, that was yesterday, but we had issues off and on uploading So I don't know if that was posted yet, or if it hit yet, or if the show's gonna hit first and the current event's gonna hit late. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I will say that I did speak that I would elaborate on this. So here's the giveaway. We're giving away a pair of brand new in the box, in the shrink wrap, plastic AirPods. Shipped to you, no strings. You don't have to pay shipping. You don't have to do anything else besides what you see on your screen. Number one, you follow our YouTube and Instagram. Number two, comment and tag 2 of your friends. You got to make a comment on YouTube and Instagram. Doesn't matter what post or what video. And then tag 2 of your friends, however that works, and then share this post right here, this giveaway post, to your story. And you will be entered to win. It's a short little giveaway, so it's, we only got a couple of weeks, but I will say that if you enter, and I just, I'm not trying to be facetious or anything, or tell you what to do, it's a free world, do your dance. I respect it. I love it. But I will say this. We're not like the foundation. Foundation isn't super popular, So I'm not going to say that. You're almost guaranteed to win, if you enter. But I will say that you got really good chances to win. I mean, look, we have less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, less than 900 followers on Instagram. I mean, the odds aren't. This is a pretty good odds, is all I'm trying to say. And I don't think it's too. And I think sharing the mission. We're educating people. So, it's essentially for a good cause. But, fundamentally, free, I almost said iPads. That's the next one, y'all. Free AirPods, y'all. Why not? So there it is, right there. And we're going to keep it moving. So here we have, we're going to get into the show. And with regards to the show, I want to talk about the difference between public trust and private trust. But I think what I'm gonna first do is I'm gonna speak on the history of Sot. Let's do that first, right? Let's knock it out. And that history specifically is gonna start over. Let's keep it short. It starts over 15 years ago, if I'm being honest. And I'm gonna just be brief. I used to be a international. How about this? I took a brand international. I like that. I took a brand international because I really did. I went to school for international business sales and marketing. It was a double major. It was stupid. 15 credits. Don't do it. But do it if you want the education. But I would just say, having done all that, man, you can learn that stuff online, man, for free, man. I'm not even gonna play. If you got the consistency and the dedication, if you're gonna do it, you can learn the stuff online. But nonetheless, I did take a brand international, in freshman year of college, probably even the first semester, I had to do a business plan. And I did the business plan on my own company and was serious, where, the other students, they did business plans on like mock-up or fake companies. I wasn't playing. And I think that was good. But nonetheless, I took a brand international. I took a company international. And having done that, there was this time where I was in the south of France and I was in Cannes, where they do the Cannes Film Festival, And this is on the Mediterranean. So it's on the North Mediterranean, right? Yeah, it's the North Mediterranean Sea, which is tropical. There's palm trees, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you ever get a chance, go to the south of France. But on the other side of the sea is Morocco, North Africa. and it's a really dope place, really cool climate. Anyways, I was at a party, and no joke, it was a yacht the size of an apartment building from my perspective. You know, where I'm from, what I look at, what I'm used to, how I describe, you know, things. That's how I just that's it. And I was upset because I had just had a conversation with one of the people that, you know, I worked with, who were basically telling me that, you know, there was a U.S. tax owed for all of the euros and the pounds that the company was making in Europe. And at first I didn't believe him. You know, I'm young and defiant, definitely defiant. But I did some research and, you know, came out that this man was correct. And like about a half hour after that realization, you know, I'm outside. I think I'm on the bow. Sometimes I get it mixed up between the bow and the stern, but I think the stern is front and the bow is the back. But I could have them backwards. Either way, man, I don't own a yacht, man. But I ended up talking to this guy. So I can't remember exactly. You got to remember, this is like 15 years ago. I ended up talking to this guy, and he was like, what's going on? I was like, paying taxes, and it's ridiculous because they didn't help me do this, and they didn't help me build this brand and, you know, create all this product and so on and so forth, right? And it came up that I own the rights to, you know, all of the intellectual property with regards to the company. And that really caught the guy off guard, and I noticed that. You know, I paid attention, and he asked me how, and I told him what I told y'all just now. You know, I went to school for international business. You know, I had to do a business plan, and instead of doing it on a fake company, I did it on my company, and I've done this and this and this and this, and I know how to do this, this, and this. And, you know, it's just what I was taught in college because, you know, I was going to be successful, and the most successful people around me that weren't going to prison were legit businessmen. So he kind of looked at me, and I could tell there was a struggle in his face, right? And he told me after the struggle, he said, I'm going to share something with you, and I have to excuse myself because I have to do this or that. I can't remember what he said, but it was really smooth, right? I call it Hollywooding. When you Hollywood somebody, I felt Hollywooded a little bit, but no disrespect. I mean, whatever. But he said something that I'm not going to share with y'all because, you know, it's private. But what he did say that I will share, which is very profound, in and of itself, was that I need to look into trust. And I never thought about it. And the level of success that this man had, I knew that he had. You know, he was high up in the company that my company was working with, which was basically working for, if you want to be honest. Like when it came all down to it, it wasn't an equal thing. But he was high up. He knew what he was talking about. You know, the dude looked like money. And the dude was, you know, he knew what he was talking about. And I'm not silly not to listen to, you know, when people know what they're talking about. So I took that to heart. And I remember one thing led to another, but I ended up making the decision to come back to the States. And I came back to the States and went about looking into the trust. And to kind of keep this a little more brief than it could be, because, you know, I'm long-winded, but I ended up going to 3 different attorneys because I felt like the first 2 were lying to me. Because the first one told me that trust must dissolve after 12 years, and I'm not playing with you. And this is the consistency that I talk about. Like, we have to get up and make moves. Even though we have supercomputers in our pockets, man, like legit supercomputers in our pockets, sometimes you got to get up and move, because at the end of the day, at the very least, that's more than what most people are doing. So it raises the chances of you getting what you want, being a success, or succeeding at whatever you're trying to do. So I'm going to these attorneys, these trust attorneys, right? And the reason why I'm not feeling this 12 years dissolution clause or whatever is because, you know, I went to school with a couple kids who were trust fund kids, and, you know, I think one got their money when they were 18. So this dude had a crazy car, and I'm like, yo, man, how did you get this car? Like, straight up, man, I'm trying to get it. And I didn't say it like that, but, you know, he told me, he was like, I got it from my trust, you know, my trust money. I got my trust money, and that's what I bought. And then this other dude, he didn't get his money until he was 21. That's what he said. I remember, I get mine when I'm 21 or something. So I knew there was differences, but I also knew that, if you're a trust kid and you get your money when you 21 and 18, that's longer than 12 years. And that was ignorance. I'm just going to be honest. That was because I didn't know, right? I didn't know. That's definitely possible. But my ignorance brought me to a place of knowledge, right? So when I went to this third attorney, I already walked in and they were like, how can I help you? And I was like, you can help me by not lying to me. I'm not playing. That's what I said. That's the first thing I said to them. I said, you can help me by not lying to me. And I didn't say it with anger or nothing. I said it straight up. And they just kind of looked at me weird. And I was like, yes, you can. I'm serious. I'm tired of being lied to by attorneys. It's a tactic, man. It worked. It worked because I didn't want to go to see any more attorneys. But I was like, you just don't lie to me. He was like, sir, I'm not going to lie to you. Just please promise you're not going to lie to me. I'm tired of being lied to. Sir, I would never lie to you. You promise, I'm not going to lie to you. I promise. And when she promised, I said, okay, these attorneys are telling me that trusts have to dissolve for 12 years. And I know that's incorrect because I know people that I went to school with that get their trust money when they're 18 and 21. And she said something very distinct. She said statutory trusts have to dissolve after 12 years. And that's when it really clicked, right? That's when I was really getting somewhere. So there's distinctions between trusts. And this is the first distinction that I had to make in order to get to where I am. And I'm not playing. I would really, really fundamentally stand on this right here. This distinction between public and private trust. That's why I wax poetic and lyrical with regards to the difference between private trust and a public trust, right? So here we go. We got the California Code, Trust Law, Part 1, General Provisions. And it states, except to the extent that the common law rules governing trusts are modified by statute, the common law as to trusts is the law of this state. And I'm not going to say that this is the exact one that I read, right? And was like, what? And it started me off because like all of these things are steps, right? But this was it. And my main thing was I had worked really hard to get where I was and achieve the things that I have achieved. I have sacrificed a lot. And that was my complaint, to the gentleman who started me on this whole journey when I was in the south of France over 15 years ago. I had worked really hard and I was looking to protect my interest. I had children at the time. I was looking out for their future. Everything that I was doing, all the sacrifices I was making, all of the ridiculousness I was tolerating, ignoring, and playing dumb around or just plain dealing with was for a reason. And it was to change my life and my children's life to the point where I didn't want them to even understand what I had to deal with and where I came from and my struggles and our poverty from this generation. Because I feel like that ultimately is my responsibility, man. And then they do better and then theirs do better and then it's cold, right? So my link in the chain must be strong. So as I'm reading this, right, I don't know if this was the exact one, but I do know it was something very similar to this. The common law as to trusts is the law of this state. Now, being in college, right, I took in studying business, right, and specifically international business, I would say, right, had me primed for this. Probably more than most people, because most people, aren't going to be in the same position that I was in, or that, everyone's unique is what I'm trying to say, So I feel like I was primed for this in a way that, I did take business classes. I took business law classes to the point where, I looked at the syllabus, you had to get a law dictionary. And like I had never gotten a law dictionary, and on the syllabus it says which book and whatever. And like I was getting grants and taking out loans to go through school. So like I was paying for this stuff. This was my bread. This wasn't like something that, blah. So anyways, I'm going to the bookstore, the student bookstore, to get the books that I need for my class and stuff. And, I asked for the law dictionary. She pulls out this book and it's like $175. And I legit was like, listen, lady, it was hardcover. I was like, what? Are you serious? She said, yeah. And it was the right ITIN or whatever numbers they were on the book. I mean, it was the right book, right? But I couldn't have, like, for real, I'm not paying that. But I was like, is there anything cheaper? And she brought me an abridged one. It was soft cover. I still have it to this day. Man, listen, that stays in the family. That thing was expensive. It was the most expensive book I had ever bought at that point in my life. And I'm a college child, man. College student. What? The one she brought me was $75. Soft cover, Black's Law 7th edition, abridged, which means it wasn't even the whole joint. I'm missing pieces, but I did take business law classes, which means I was familiar with law dictionaries. And I understood, in a certain sense, what this was saying. So I wanted more. I wanted to understand more with regards to these trusts. This would lead me down the road. I ended up meeting my mentor. I'm gonna shout him out, man. His name was Tony Franklin. May he, rest in power, peace, and prosperity and luxuriousness. Because, my trust mentor did pass away a couple years ago. But, I met a brother named Tony Franklin. And although I did pay for it, the brother was gracious, he was patient, and he put me on to some serious game. And with that, I was able to pivot and learn with regards to private family foundations and private banking with whole life insurance policies. And that stuff changed my life to the point where, like, I brought my family to the Bahamas and then the next year the Cayman Islands. And it's not like I got a promotion or started making more money necessarily. It was just I learned how to do things differently for the benefit of my family primarily, and secondarily for the benefit of the public, the state, and the federal government. You know what I mean? And that's really how this started. So, peace to Tony Franklin. I used to not say his name, but now I feel like I have to. And then we got the Delaware Code, Title 12. And they're always talking about, the treatment of Delaware statutory trusts. Statutory. And this is what she was saying, statutory trusts. Which is really cold. And Tony Franklin helped me understand that this is what it is. You have private structures that owe their existence to the common law right to contract, which is significant, right? Because within the California Trust Code, the common law as to trust is the law of the state. Common law right to contract. And then you have trusts that are statutory, that owe their existence to state law. I'm going to write this down. Look, what is this? I'm not going to write it down, but I'm going to show it to you. Statutory trust, here it is. Statutory trust means an unincorporated association is created by a governing instrument under which the property of the right? So these are the conditions. This one is critical. Files a certificate of trust pursuant to subsection 3810 of this title, which I'm sure has to do with filing a certificate with the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State, a Secretary of State is the state, and that brings, even if it's a contract, if it's a private trust, I can create a private trust right now, and the trustees can make it public. The Board of Trustees. So this is the distinction right here. This is so critical and so important, right? Files a certificate, whereas private trust, this does not happen. That invites jurisdiction. When the trust instrument says this trust shall be governed under the laws of the state of, boom, that makes it a public trust. Especially if it was crafted by an attorney that you contracted. Now, if it's a family attorney or someone that you know that you love and you have a private relationship, they might put you on if they know with regards to contract trust. So I'm going to show you this, and shout out to Yusuf L, because this is his. He created this. I did not create this. Yusuf L created this. High frequency radio for life. I'm just playing. But shout out Yusuf L for creating this, because this is brilliant. So this breaks down public and private, right? You got natural law, God's law. So if you don't come under God's law, you come under the man's law. period. Whether you believe that or not, because it is what it is. You got substantive law that derives itself from positive law, which is man's law. Then you got procedural law and then remedial law. And then from substantive law breaks down to public law and private law. Private law is contract law, tort law, status law, property law. It's supposed to be family law, but you have that birth certificate, in my opinion, and the marriage certificate more specifically. So that's, you got a third party in your marriage. And then public law is constitutional law, criminal law, administrative law, and international law, right? So if you look at Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, it states in part, no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. Constitutional law protects contract law. Contract law and the common law right to contract is how private trusts, private estates are created, maintained, and protected. Period. That's the distinction. And sometimes it takes a minute for it to click. But if there's evidence within the governing instrument that there's an invocation of state jurisdiction, that's a public trust. I don't care if your private uncle wrote it. And he's the most private dude you've ever met, to the point where you don't even know what he looks like, and he's been your uncle your whole life. If it says it's governed under the laws of the state of, and it says a state within the United States, it's governed by that state's statutory law, which means I don't care what it is. It's a statutory trust. Now, contract law, in and of itself, the state cannot make any law that impairs the contract or anything in the contract, as long as it's private. If the state has no jurisdiction over it, so be it. I would ask you, what happens to state Internal Revenue Service agents with regards to a private contract, trust, and its business? That's a good question. I can't give legal advice, though. I can express my experience, but I'll leave that for another show. Express trust under the common law is one of the most important documents you should get your hands on if you are looking to understand what I'm saying and the validity and power of a trust that is executed under the common law right to contract and does not invoke state jurisdiction, and a trust that is executed, however, but in its governing instrument invokes state jurisdiction, statutory laws, and legislatures. This is Weiss Concise handbook. It's a dope one, but the authors of this are talking about express trust in the common law, which is a document which is actually, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, read it, but it's from a long time ago. And what I got from it when I read it years ago, I haven't read it in a while, but what I got from it was there was this guy somewhere on the East Coast, I think in New York, who worked in the government, who was trying to figure out how to get more government revenue. And he tasked one of his underlings, who was an attorney, who I guess was really cold with law, to figure out how they could tax private contract trust or express trust that were under the common law right to contract and not under statutory law of the state. And the man came back and was like, yo, check it out. We can't. It's not going to happen. Good luck. And this is what will happen if we do. It's great because it's not only from an authoritative position, well, most people would consider authoritative, the government, but it's also very, very illustrative of how powerful these structures are and how valid they are, how old they're ancient. They're ancient. And they're still being used today. So express trust put legal estate entirely in one or more persons. This would be the trustees. Others have a beneficial interest in and out of the same, the trust. Those would be the beneficiaries, but are neither partners nor agents. The simple, adequate common law right any person or group of persons sui juris may exercise the trustees issuing certificates of beneficial capital and capital interest divided into shares, as well as issuing bonds and other obligations as freely as they open a bank account, have a passbook, and draw and circulate checks or make whatever contractual relations are allowed to persons as a natural right. Express trust is not merely a property interest held by one for the benefit of another like any basic trust. Rather, it is a trust created by private contract for the holding of a divisible property interest wherein the trust is divisible by the certificates of beneficial interest or the trust capital units. You know, that's me talking, y'all. That's not, I'm not reading that. You know what I'm saying? Bye-bye. Where was I, though? I lost my mind. There we go. Divisible property interest wherein the trustee is empowered by the settlor, the grantor, to do for a beneficiary of his, the trustees, choosing whatever he may do for himself as an individual sui juris. What has been created here is a trust organization lawfully by natural right. Quote, as a general proposition, it may be asserted that one who creates a trust may mold it in whatever form he pleases, and that whatever one may lawfully do himself, he may authorize another to do for him. And that's look, that's 10, and I bet you that money, that sounds like a Supreme Court citation. Yep, Harwood versus Tracy. It's, what is it, stare decisis. Doing so requires no benefit, privilege, or franchise from any government or other outside party. That would be that certificate, filing certificate. That's what I pointed out. Where was that? Was that California or Delaware? That was Delaware. Files a certificate. So you have trusts that owe their existence and are governed by statute, and you have trusts that owe their existence and governed by contract. Contract makes the law. Think of the power that the Board of Trustees has when the trust right of existence and operation is perched and couched within contract law, the right to contract. So I'm going to give you a second to look at this, and, I will be so kind. If you email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com, I will send you this if you don't have it already. It's, it's not like I'm the exclusive owner and holder of this by delegation of USFL, but, I think this is something that naturally assists in the comprehension of the different levels or jurisdictions or bodies of law, right? So, that's pretty much it. I do want to remind you, before we do a dance, we're doing a giveaway. It's a giveaway dance. Brand new set of AirPods, no strings attached besides what you see on your screen. I would say the odds are very high. We're trying to give it away, y'all. Just take it. Just trying to spread the word. This is our token of appreciation for y'all trying to help us spread the word. The distinction between public and private needs to be made. Private rights are important. I choose no political side. So, I'm not saying any of that, but, anyone, in my opinion, would agree you would have a problem if I walked up and just started taking your stuff. And that's what I mean by private right. It's mine. I get to say what happens with it. It's my family's. I'm delegated to, administer this in a specific way. You have no right to say or dictate how this is administered. This is my family. This is not part of the government. We're not government. This is a private family. And we're just trying to spread the word on how you can functionally, legally stand on that right. So, I heavily invite y'all to answer, my bad, to enter. And with that being said, appreciate you checking out the show. Take care of yourself. Make sure you enjoy yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Yep, I'll do current events tomorrow. I promise. Peace, y'all.